Today, we're going to be covering the theme of Native American Heritage Month. And so for today, I will have two friends of mine read a few books, and then we'll do a small craft today, and I'll let you have your holiday. First though, I'm gonna read you one book called We Are Water Protectors. Water is the first medicine, Nokomis told me. Nokomis means grandmother in Anishinaabe, which is the language that these people here speak. We come from water. It nourished us inside our mother's body as it nourishes us here on Mother Earth. Water is sacred, she said. She's pregnant. Has anyone had a mom or an aunt or someone who's been pregnant? Yeah. Maybe even a sibling? You know, sometimes kind of have older siblings. We stand with our songs and our drums. We are still here. The river's rhythm runs through my veins, runs through my people's veins. What else? Yeah, there's a little lily pads in her hair. Let's see. There's the drums. My people talk of a black snake that will destroy our land. Oh, I think that might be it up there. Looks long and black. Spoil the water, poison plants and animals, wreck everything in its path. It looks like a really big snake. Things are kind of scary to me, but they're not that scary. I don't know. Are you scared of snakes? Huh? My grandma's really scared of snakes. When my people first spoke of the black snake, they foretold that it wouldn't come for many, many years. A long time ago, I'm talking about the one day a black snake would come. It wouldn't come for a long time. Now the black snake is here. Its venom burns the land, courses through the water, making it unfit to drink. It's a pretty scary black snake there. Take courage. I must keep the black snake away from my village's water. I must rally my people together. Here. I think there are fish and lily pads and everything in there. To stand for the water, to stand for the land, to stand as one against the black snake. They're all holding hands together to stand up against the black snake. We stand with our songs and our drums. We are still here. Ooh, do you think they'll be able to beat the black snake? It will not be easy. We fight for those who cannot fight for themselves, the winged ones, the crawling ones. Yeah, hummingbirds aren't great at fighting. I'm not sure if butterflies are very good at fighting either. The four-legged, the two-legged, the plants, trees, rivers, and lakes. That has two legs. That has 4 legs. I think that's a deer right there. There's some bears too on the side here. The earth. Wow. It's really pretty. I like all of the drawings. Excuse me. We are all related. Tears like waterfalls streamed down tracks on my face. Tracks down my people's faces. They're all crying. Water has its own spirit, Nokomis told me. Water is alive. Water remembers our ancestors who came before us, she said. Ancestors are like your grandparents and your grandparents' grandparents. And so we stand with our songs and our drums. We are still here. We are stewards of the earth. Our spirits have not been broken. We are water protectors. We stand. Water is life. Mani Wachoni, which means water is life in Lakota or Dakota. They're similar. They're pretty similar languages. But protect the sacred. The black snake is in for the fight of its life. Wow. I think they can beat them? There's a lot of them. And they have a lot of stuff with them. Well, that's the end of it. So I guess we'll see. The next thing I'm going to do is hand it over to a couple of my friends to read, and then I'll be back for a little craft, I think. All right, bye.
Bonjour. Delaney and Dylan, Ajijek Nindodem, Nagachiwanong Nindunjba. Hi, my name is Delaney Anderson. I am an Ojibwe woman from Fond du Lac, which is located in northern Minnesota, excuse me. And I'm here to read some books. So we have Hungry Johnny by Cheryl Manema, if I'm correct, maybe, I don't know, I may have said that wrong. And then we have Amakunsei, which means little beaver, and it's written by Ferguson Plain. I will be reading Hungry Johnny first. And the cover looks like this. You can see it more clearly. Okay, let's get to it. Johnny was in his snow fort when his tummy began to growl. Little dinosaur right in the corner. Cute. He peeked at Grandma through the kitchen doorway. I like to eat, 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 said Johnny. Grandma kept on stirring and stirring her kettle of wild rice. Johnny trotted into the kitchen, straight for the apples, oranges, bananas, and the new package of sweet rolls. I like to eat, 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 said Johnny. Johnny shooed his hand. Grandma shooed his hand away. Because those are for the community feast. Johnny put his head down and started to drag his boots out of the kitchen. This means I will be waiting forever. I'm so hungry, Johnny said. But we are almost ready to go, said Grandma. Yay, said Johnny, jumping up and down. Grandma kept her eyes on the snowy dirt road. Johnny sang, I like to eat, eat, eat. I like to eat, 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 all the way to the community center. When the people were seated and the food neatly arranged, an elderly man began to sing a very long prayer. Akwe Niwi Miigwech. And here's the old man saying a very long prayer. Akwe Niwi Miigwech is saying, here we will give thanks. Johnny dug inside his left coat pocket. He pulled out his mini monster truck, the cartoon sticker he got from his 5-year checkup, and the sparkly white rock he had found in the driveway. There were no snacks. Then Johnny dug inside his pants pocket and pulled out his little plastic buddy. Big Bill, said Johnny, excited to have finally found him. Shh, said Grandma. There's Big Bill. Johnny put most of his treasures away and sat quietly until he heard the prayer end. We sinig. Big Bill hiding in the pocket. Look at Big Bill hiding in the pocket. Johnny stood up and said, "It's time to eat, eat, eat." Grandma gently tugged the sleeve of his sweater. "Baka, we let the elders eat first." Johnny sat down. "Why do elders get the good food first?" he asked. "Out of respect," said Grandma. "Well, why aren't you getting up to eat?" asked Johnny. "Because I'm only a baby elder," said Grandma. Look at all those old people. They're pretty cool. "What is a baby elder?" asked Johnny. "It's when you are too young to be old and too old to be young," said Grandma. "Huh?" asked Johnny. Grandma laughed. Johnny's tummy growled. There's another elder right there. Kind of hard to see with my light, I'm sorry. The long table filled. "Grandma, I'm hungry," said Johnny. Her soft hand patted his knee. "Baka." Oh, baka means wait, by the way. I'm sorry, I forgot to explain that. Johnny's mouth watered as he watched the elders eat fried potatoes, wild rice, goulash, big chunks of rye bread, and thickly frosted sweet rolls. A place for two finally opened up at the table. Johnny stood up and then sat back down. "Already taken," said Johnny. He looked at all the people still waiting to eat and started to count them. 1, 2, 3. Grandma tapped Johnny's knee. "It's time to eat." Johnny hopped up and trotted to the table. In a deep voice, he said, "I like to eat, eat, eat. I like to eat, eat, eat." When Johnny sat down, the platter of frosted sweet rolls was empty. "Aw, man," pouted Johnny. A woman picked up the empty platter and put an even bigger platter of sweet rolls on the table. "Eat up," said the woman. "Finally," said Johnny. But then he saw Grandma's friend Catherine walk through the door. Johnny looked down at his plate and then back at Grandma's neighbor. She was definitely not a baby elder. Johnny stood up on his chair and yelled, "Catherine, Catherine, it's time to eat, eat, eat." Johnny hopped off the chair and pulled it out. When Catherine sat down, she patted her knee. Johnny hopped onto her lap. Grandma leaned over and whispered into Johnny's ear, "Why do the little boys get all the good food?" "Because," said Johnny, "we like to eat, eat, eat." And that's the end of Hungry Johnny. The next book we have is Amakunsei, which means little beaver. There once was a beaver called Amakunsei, which means little beaver. This was the name given to the beaver by the little boy who kept him. Amakunsei and the little boy were great friends. Everywhere Amakunsei went, the little boy followed, and everywhere the little boy went, Amakunsei was close behind. Amakunsei would Amakunsei would often sit on the little boy's lap while the little boy had tea with his grandfather, who had a cabin in the woods. One day the little boy was having tea with his grandfather and listening to him tell stories. Amakunsei noticed the front door was open just a little bit. Amakunsei had never been in the bush before without the little boy. Amakunsei thought this would be a good time to experience it all by himself. Kind of looks like a cat, like a really chubby cat, but it's a beaver. As the little boy listened to his grandfather talk, Amakunsei walked quietly and carefully to the door. Slowly, he nudged the door open with his nose. Amakunsei pushed and pushed until finally he had an opening wide enough for him to walk through. As he walked quietly through the open door, he looked back at the little boy and the grandfather as they talked and sipped tea. They didn't even notice he was outside. Amakunsei was so excited that he ran and ran and ran until he could no longer see the house. All he saw were the tall weeds, tall trees, and lots of bush. Amakunsei was scared because he had never been outside alone in the bush before. Nighttime came over the big forest and Amakunsei wanted to sleep. He looked for a bed, but knew that his only real bed was an old box with a warm blanket that the little boy had made for him many moons ago. Amakunsei walked and walked until he came to a big tree. In this tree, he found a cave-like hole. Amakunsei climbed into the tree and fell asleep. Morning came and Amakunsei was awakened from his cozy sleep by the chirping of a bird. Amakunsei slowly crawled out of the tree to greet the day. Suddenly, a strong but squeaky voice came up from in the tree. Amakunsei looked up and saw Benishi sitting on a branch, singing with all his might. And Benishi means bird in Ojibwe. Bonjour, which means hello, the Benishi said, looking down at Amakunsei. Anish Ejnakazuyan, which means, what are you called? Indigenous Amakunsei, Amakunsei replied, which means, my name is Amakunsei. Are you lost, Amakunsei? Well, I think so, Amakunsei replied sadly. Why were you sleeping in an old tree trunk and not in a lodge where you belong? Benishi asked. Amakunsei looked up at Benishi, wondering what he meant by a lodge. Amakunsei had never seen or heard of a lodge before, so in a curious voice he asked what a lodge was. With a look of surprise, Benishi tried to explain what a lodge was, but wasn't too successful. So he told Amakunsei to go further into the bush until he saw a big puddle of water. There, he said, you will find a lodge. Amakunsei began his journey. He walked deeper into the bush until he came to an old owl snoozing in a big old oak tree, the biggest oak tree in the forest. So here's Benishi talking about the lodge. Amakunsei stopped. He decided to ask Owl for directions. He sat at the bottom of the oak tree, and with a quiet voice he called up to the old owl. Ani, owl, Ani, which means, hello, owl, hello. He waited, then Owl spoke. What little animal awakes the wise old owl? My name is Amakunsei. I'm sorry for waking you up, but I need directions to the big puddle of water. Why? Asked Owl. Well, sir, I'm from the little house somewhere in the forest. I wandered off and I got lost, and now I need a home. Benishi told me about the lodge in the big puddle of water. I'm so tired. Can you help me? Amakunsei asked. Amakunsei, I have often seen this big puddle of water in the forest, Owl said. Benishi is right. There is a lodge there, but it is many miles from here. You better rest tonight. You may share my oak tree. As night fell over the big forest. Amakunsei and Old Owl collected wood and built a fire. There they sat talking of many things. Dawn once again brought light to the big forest. Amakunsei woke up to the sound of chanting. It was Old Owl greeting the sun with a sunrise ceremony. Old Owl stood perched on the oak tree with an eagle feather in one wing and a braid of sweetgrass in the other, looking out over the big forest into the rising sun. Old Owl spoke to the sun. Great Spirit, grant the little one a safe journey for what he seeks, and when he finds what he seeks, may he be happy. Old Owl looked down at excuse me. Old Owl looked down at Amakunsei and told him to follow the path on the north side of the oak tree. This path, he said, will lead you to the big puddle of water, and there you will find a home. Amakunsei took Old Owl's advice and followed the path that would lead him to the big puddle of water. On his journey, Amakunsei saw and heard many things he had never seen or heard before. A bee taking pollen from a flower, the whoosh of the south wind passing through the trees, and the best of all, the way the sun rose in the east and set in the west. After 3 moons had passed, Amakunsei had still not come across any sign of the big puddle of water. Then, one day, Amakunsei was taking a rest under a big shade tree, and from the distance he heard a splashing sound. He jumped to his feet and ran with great excitement to the end of the path. There before him was the big puddle of water. And there, sitting on the water, was a lodge, just what Benishi and Old Owl said he would find. And around this lodge there were many animals who looked like him. Amakunsei walked slowly down to the big puddle of water, staring at its beauty. He stood on the edge of the water, looking at the lodge. All of a sudden, a gentle voice came behind him. It was an animal much like him. The animal spoke, "Bonjour, friend," which means hello, friend. Are you lost? Amakunsei stood there with a tear trickling from his eye. With a soft voice, he said, "No, I'm not lost. I'm home now." Aw, what a good ending. Well, that was all I had. Thank you so much for listening and watching. Have a good day.
Amakunsei, Chante Washite Nape Chuzapalo, Dylan Young Amachiapi, Rosebud Matahan. Greetings, relatives. I shake your hand with a good heart. My name is Dylan Young. I'm an enrolled member of the Rosebud Sioux tribe, and I am a second-year student at the University of Minnesota Morris. Today we will be reading Fry Bread, a Native American family story, written by Kevin Noble Maillard and illustrated by Juana Martinez Neal. Here's the front cover. All right. Amakunsei, Chante Washite Nape Chuzapalo, Dylan Young Amachiapi, Rosebud Matahan. Greetings, relatives. I shake your hand with a good heart. My name is Dylan Young. I'm an enrolled member of the Rosebud Sioux tribe, and I am a second-year student at the University of Minnesota Morris. Today, we will be reading Fry Bread, a Native American family story, written by Kevin Noble Maillard and illustrated by Juana Martinez Neal. Fry Bread is food. Flour, salt, water, baking powder, cornmeal, perhaps milk, maybe sugar, all mixed together in a bowl. Fry bread is shape. Hands mold the dough, flat like a pancake, round like a ball, or puffy like Nana's softest pillows. Fry bread is sound. The skillet clangs on the stove. The fire blazes from below. Drop the dough in the skillet. The bubbles sizzle and pop. Fry bread is color. Golden brown, tan, or yellow. Deep like coffee, sienna, or earth. Light like snow and cream. Warm like rays of sun. Fry bread is flavor. Sea, beans, or soup. Smell tacos, cheese, and vegetables. Delight in honey and jam. Rise to discover what brings us together. Fry bread is time. On weekdays and holidays, supper or dinner, powwows and festivals, moments together with family and friends. Fry bread is art. Sculptures, landscapes, portrait, our daily craft. Shared from teacher to student, a cycle of heritage and fortune. Fry bread is history, the long walk, the stolen land, strangers in our world. With unknown food, we made new recipes from what we had. Fry bread is place. Alaska, Kansas, all the way to Maine, down to Delaware, on to Georgia, over to Oklahoma, Colorado, and California. Cities and lands we call home. Fry bread is nation. Abenaki, Apache, Arapaho, Ojibwe, Onondaga, Oglala Sioux, Narragansett, Navajo, Nipmunk, Seminole, Shoshone, Sac and Fox, hundreds and hundreds of tribes. Fry bread is everything. Round, flat, large, small, north, south, east, west, brown, yellow, black, white, familiar and foreign, old and new. We come together. Fry bread is us, elder and young, friend and neighbor. We strengthen each other to learn, change, and survive. Fry bread is you. Palamayelo, thank you.
Hello. So I hope that you enjoyed our guest readers. For our activity today, what I want you to do is to think of someone or something that can't fight for itself and what you can do to fight for them. So I think I might draw a picture of a tree. You might draw a picture of a river or a lake or someone you know who might just need a little bit more help. Yeah. Well, I think that'll be it. I'll come back with a picture for you and we'll both see what we came up with. I'll see you in 1 sec. Okay. So I didn't color mine in because my crayons are at the library, but this is my picture. It's not the best picture I drew ever, but it's a picture of a baby because babies can't really talk for themselves. No. Anyways, I will see you all next week. I forget what our theme is, or maybe Grant will be there next week and he'll just be doing a thing. All right. Well, bye everyone. Have a good vacation.